like by you getting the mailer in the mail, you're like, dang, this guy's like on his stuff. He's got systems in play. Like if some dude came to your house, doesn't have a CRM, gives you a piece of paper and says, this is how much it's going to cost, about 7-8 hours.
Yeah.
You know, like, can I have $100 deposit? You're like, what the heck is going on? There's no documentation. There's no things. There's no systems in place. There's no going over the coverage or insurance or our policies. Like, it's just because it's a cheap price. And what's really scary is, you know, clients aren't educated enough by those who do it the right way.
Right on. So we're trying out a new format here today. I got someone in the office, and so we're trying it out. Hopefully the audio sounds okay. But we're down here with another interview, another podcast for one of the local all-stars here in town. In town meaning our whole county or whole surrounding area, but Austin here with Central Coast Moving. Definitely the premier moving company on the Central Coast. But what's up, man?
Hey, thanks for having me today, Seth. I really appreciate the opportunity. You know, as a business for businesses, we're really here to, you know, impact and make a difference. For, you know, bring everyone else up around us. Yeah,
I know that we're both, besides the real estate company, we've got the painting company, you're in the moving company. We're kind of in the same, we run in the same circles, right?
Oh.
So lately we've been running into each other a lot.
Oh, 100%. I actually, the other day, I was at a conference and they were talking about running Instagram ads, and I started thinking about, I kind of ran one, like a micro one, and then I was like, man, I need to start running these Instagram hiring ads right on top of the painting companies, because they have hard workers that do the same stuff as us.
Yeah.
So I thought that was super funny. Not that I'm going to run any on you, but...
Tell me what you mean by that.
So basically you can create an Instagram ad, target the exact address of where you want it, a set of radius and interests, and target the demographic, like micro target someone within a 1 mile perimeter. So if we wanted, I could run a little ad, maybe like $5-10 a day, and I guarantee everyone in the whole office would be getting it all day on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. So you're thinking like, cause so sometimes like with painting, like good entry level workers usually come from like the restaurant industry, because they're tired of working nights and weekends, and they're tired of like the funky hours. But also just like the grind every single day. They want some more stability and learn a trade. So I find that like people that come from restaurant can be good workers as well. But in terms of moving, you know, someone who maybe during the week 7 to 3, 7 to 4, they're painting houses. They could even move on the weekends.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And I've really found just like what works best with us is, you know, we're usually hiring someone 21 to like 30 years old is most ideal to like drive our moving trucks.
Yeah.
And someone 18 to 21 is probably their first time in an industry, and they probably don't really have that like the why. Like they don't have kids, they live at home, so it's really not that much purpose to get to work. And then, you know, when we had so much structure, like you have tons of structure, you told me about it. And like those young guys, not all the time can always like handle that, but I mean, some of them are, you know, we got one guy who's an on-call guy, you know, so it's pretty cool. But I really think like a lot in athletics too, like our best employees usually have some sort of coach in their life and have been used to that like activity and constructive criticism too as they build them up.
Yeah. But you pretty much, you think that you kind of attract more of like that kind of mentality, like someone, you know, where you're advertising for employees like that, or?
I would say, I mean, I'm actually working on with like, actually trying to hire a virtual assistant for this, which we can go into if you want.
Yeah.
But with Constant Contact, it's kind of like MailChimp if you've ever used it. And basically SMS and email, and basically because hiring should be a sales funnel.
Right.
Like you're selling, you shouldn't have them sell them.
Right.
Like why Central Coast Moving is number one, or why is Peak Painting number one? Not really like why are they number one for your job, because they don't know.
Right.
I mean, they don't even know what they're going to be doing when they get in the field.
Right. Right.
So
I know it's, in terms of like different trades, like with us, with like the painting company, obviously real estate, you know, you have realtors, they're getting the real estate license, but a lot of realtors, they start out like super green, you know? And but the painting, a lot of times we're trying to attract people that know how to paint. And moving, you have a lot of people that go from one company to another. They're trying to seek other positions, or usually those are the type of employees that are looking for like estimating or like management kind of like levels, you know, in the moving industry.
That's a great question. I mean, I would say in a higher population, you're looking at, like, I would probably run ads on another moving company, but us being the only legitimate licensed moving company in the North County, there's really, like, I don't really want guys from SLO because there's so much drive time. Like, some jobs for us, some days are like 3 to 4 hours. So someone local, I can call them in faster if I need to, and they're woke up late, which happens in our industry. My guys can pick them up, you know. If they're in SLO, it's... But I mean, on the other hand, we're also looking to hire in like Santa Maria and like way South County. So we're kind of working on just having like 2 pillars and then filling in the gaps. But I would say I prefer to train someone that doesn't know any moving because it's really hard to retrain over habits. And then like I had guys, like probably like 4 guys, they worked for Meathead, and they were like, why don't we use rope? I'm like, dude, rope is variable cost. It's a waste of time. It doesn't even strap something down the right way. And the whole industry doesn't use rope. Why in the world would we use rope? You know,
what do you mean rope? Like to hold stuff
like to
together?
tie their loads down, man. I'm like, I just thought it was nuts. I was like, no wonder they charge so much. You know?
So do you think that you're going like the guys that start out with you brand new, like the learning curve until they could be like a lead would be like a year, 6 months, or like... If you're looking to like recruit someone and they've got what it takes, you know, every once in a while you run across an employee where it's like they've got what it takes. I know they're going to learn this quickly. Like within 6 months, could someone be obviously not nuanced like move a grand piano, but they could like do a basic move in, move out like within a few months if they do like 2 or 3 moves a week? Yeah,
right now we actually just signed up with I actually had this idea. We work with a sales coach, and he's on this Lightspeed tech. Basically, he does a video, and you take a test. If you fail, you can retake it. Well, they recently created one called Tighten Up Training for the moving industry, and it's got a huge speaker, Andy Elliott. He's a big car sales guy. Yeah. And essentially, the goal I have with my team and my ops manager is in 1 month, I could take a average employee at average skills that's qualified, that we really see potential in, and can get them in the driver's seat rolling. And then you're going to probably expect to have an experienced mover. But I mean, it's really, and I've learned a lot from you with this whole growth path of employees. Like I went down like that next day and was like building it out. But I mean, essentially you could do 2 months and have a really solid mover, but it's really, I don't really feel like there's as much intention and coaching that we've been able to provide to get them. Like we're doing them a disservice to not get them to max earning potential in 2 months. So right now I would say like 1 full year in our industry, like you could do this like really well, and you've seen all the scenarios, but it's really like, how do we get the average move with a 3-man team and a 26-foot truck loading a 3-bedroom house? Like we should, and my goal this year is 1 month, but realistically we're probably looking at 2 months to get someone in, and that's why our sales funnel for hiring has been, you know, we're bringing on guys left and right. And really just saying, you know, we do a full driving test. I mean, there's a lot of systems and process we're doing right now, because as you grow, I mean, the little holes in your bucket, you know.
Well, for sure. I know that, like, you know, we both use a service in San Luis Obispo, like BBSI. Yeah. And that alone is like almost like you're talking about getting a virtual assistant, but BBSI is basically like an arm of your business that you don't have to manage. You just pay them a fee, and they handle like payroll, they handle like some certain things like that. I don't know how extent you use them, but we use them for like HR consulting and workers' comp insurance, and it's all one package. So it's a really good way to streamline and like outsource.
Oh, 100%.
The
safety protocols.
Yeah. Under 50 employees, it doesn't make sense to have an HR employee. It doesn't make sense to have a payroll specialist. It doesn't make sense to have all these things, but you can outsource it to a company like that and really streamline your business.
Oh, 100%. Like, I love BBSI. Like, they've been really strong. They came in with really competitive rates. We were kind of waiting for this like X score. X-Mod. Yeah, because I mean, there was we were on what's it called? State Fund. Is it State Fund insurance? Yeah. Originally. And so, like, as a new business, like,
State Fund's not a good deal.
You get stuck on it. I mean, for us, I was like $30 for every $100 paid out. Like,
yes, 30% is pretty high.
Yeah, and like, I mean, moving's is like as dangerous as roofing in the eyes of them, and so that's really what was a challenge. And getting this X-Mod, and our workers' comp's actually up for renewal here in May, so I'm kind of like, okay, let's let's see where all they're at. My insurance agent, Brooke with I can't even pronounce the name, but Brooke Ingalls is helping us out. So.
Yeah, at least have somebody shop around their policy so that you keep BBSI honest too. If you're watching this, don't take offense to that. BBSI. But it's just a matter of like streamlining all different stuff like that. But like, I wanted to talk to you first about like kind of not so much where you started, but like I love your logo, and you always have like all your stuff's dialed, like the blue, the white. You've got your moving pods all over town. Like I see them in front of like big buildings. Seen one in front of the new chamber building in Paso. But your trucks stand out. Like we were in Slow at Costco this weekend, and your guys were eating like their lunch in the Home Depot parking lot, and they were parked there, and they're all in the cab eating their lunch. And even my wife was like, "Oh, there's Austin's. Isn't that Austin's moving truck?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's probably one of them." But it's very catchy. I'm wondering like who came up with the logo, and what's like the idea behind like the like is there any like?
Yeah, there's a story for sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's two stories here. We'll go over the size of the logo first, because this one's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So my first wrapped truck, we bought it 2020. I want to say it was like March 2020, and this is like a month before COVID blew up, and then I was all, what do I do? And then so anyways, I buy this truck.
Little did you know it was going to be the busiest summer
of your life. The best wave I've ever had, and the best loans I've ever gotten to come.
Yeah.
But so I get this truck wrapped. It was lava print media, and no offense, but I like had this vision of it. I'm very bold and loud. I mean, that's my personality. That's the business, masculine type business.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted the biggest you could go. And then on this box truck, there was like a little bumper plate on it. And so they avoided that and went like, I want to say, to me, it looked like it was 6 feet big, but it was realistically like 12 feet wide. And then one of my employees, he was like, any bigger and it would look bad. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And then so like literally I just went with it, and I was like, whatever. We put got movers on the front, got movers on the back.
I like that.
And then so like fast forward a year down the road. So now I have my 2 trucks. We're renting some trucks. My fiance now, she was like, she saw one of our competitors. It was CalSave, or they transitioned to Martian. They actually sold off. So they saw their truck, and she's like, wow, their truck is way louder than yours. And I was like, you just literally like broke up with me inside. Like it hurt my soul. And I was like, I'm going to make the next freaking truck logo so big that no one else has a bigger logo. You could see this thing a mile away. Yeah. So that's what we did when we got our COVID loan. The next truck, called the truck's name, we named them all. The truck's is Pegasus. Yeah. And, the flying white horse. Yeah. And then so I literally went as big as it could go with quality tinting and signs. Is honestly the best company I found that could do it the right way. And man, sure as heck, like that thing, amazing. And then you fast forward down a year, I lived literally like a mile away from Highway 101. I saw that sucker rolling down Highway 101. I was like, yes, this is the moment. It made it the 1 mile test.
You could see it from your house?
Yeah. And then so rewinding back to like the original days in college, I was trying to come up with cool names. Like in my industry, it's kind of like crazy stuff. Meathead, ASAP, kind of boring name. But there's like other guys like, I don't know, 2 men in a truck, like just big, bold names. And I was like, well, Minotaur, I remember Minotaur Moving was kind of like one idea. And then I really thought of like, what do I love? And I was like, I love Central Coast surfboards. Mm-hmm. It's like slick, it's simple, it just sounds good. Yeah. And this is before I really knew that there was Central Coast this and that. Yeah. And so like I went with that, and I was like, Central Coast Moving. Yeah. Central Coast Moving and Storage, like that sounds good. Yeah. So we went with that, and then in college we were going over like colors and how they play into stuff. And then I really I noticed like no one was really blue. Like ASAP is kind of gray, but they might have blue uniform. I think they were gray back then too.
And Meathead's like
black. Yeah. And so from then I was like, well, blue was a loyal, trustworthy, calming color. Like this is why hospitals use blue. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, that's it, man. Central Coast Blue. Yeah. And then so that was pretty much it. And then, the rest I guess is history, and just continuous branding. Like everything I really try to be elegant, bold, but simple. Yeah. Like, because you can be as big and bold as you want, but if it's not a clear message and simple, like, it's just distracting.
Yeah. It's not big. It's not but it's not different every time. It's everywhere you look, it's big, but it's the same. It's very, very, very similar. And got movers.
Oh yeah, so yeah,
that's like,
yeah. So that's a long story too. I won't go into too much about that, but there's this podcast. If anyone hasn't heard it, it's 1-800 or How I Made My First Million.
Yeah.
And 1-800 Got Jumped.
I heard that
Brian
one.
Scudamore.
Yeah.
That one's, I love that one. I just felt like it resonated. It was
Yeah.
like, man, I'm sure you did too. Because I was bootstrapping back in the day too. And I just felt like it encompassed what I wanted to do. And I was like, look up like, uspto.org, and Got Movers was available. And then immediately, I think I changed my email to Got Movers at Central Coast Moving. And then I just, but I mean, obviously we don't use that one anymore, but I bought that. And then later on when we got into portable storage, I was like, Got Storage. Because I really see like Central Coast Moving being kind of a West Coast thing.
Yeah.
But if I ever want to franchise or really grow into new areas, just a simple truck, Got Movers, Got Storage is so, and it's catchy.
Well, you could even, I don't even know if it's available or whatnot, but you could even just call it moving company.
Right.
Yeah. It's like I have a friend in Philadelphia, and Andrew, if you watch this, he used to be Paint Philly, and so, but then now it's just Paint whatever. So if you ever franchise, it would be Paint Philly, Paint Baltimore, Paint Richmond, Paint.
Oh, and then because like for SEO too, like we're in the Central Coast and we do moving.
Yeah.
Like peak realty, peak painting, like SEO. That stuff helps a lot. Like people underestimate the power of just words.
Yeah, we bought like Peak Realty was one of those things where there's a company in Texas, so peakrealty.com was taken.
Oh.
So we ended up doing the peakteam.com, which is what our registered team is with the state.
Yes.
But like with other companies, like with painting, we own the domains Atascadero Painters, SlowCountyPainters.com, because then you just tie it back to your website.
Funnel, you gotta keep that sales funnel strong.
But the moving company is like one of those things where there's certain industries that really fascinate me. I would say moving and storage, mini storage definitely, but other home services, obviously real estate, home inspections got like a really big open door for it. We have a mutual friend, Dylan, who does that in Harper Homes. But like the simple home services as well that go along with if you're moving someone into a house, and what do they mostly need right away? They mostly need someone who's like furniture, maybe an interior designer, maybe like new gutters, maybe garage door,
painters,
floors,
cleaners
for sure.
Yeah.
And so that's like a low-hanging fruit for a moving company, but how many moving companies do you know that also offer like cleaning services?
It's interesting. Like I think like the industry is about to transition into this no marketing just attached to your sales funnel, like your MailChimp automations and stuff. Like, oh, by the way, we also offer junk removal and cleaning.
Right.
Because like, who better to pack boxes for a client than a cleaner that's very detail oriented? Like, I want to say my guys are good at packing, but like, who would be great at packing?
Right.
Is like, most clients even hire like their cleaner to do it anyways.
For sure.
Because I mean, you obviously, I really see like us in the future growing more. I mean, I've even looked into franchise. I looked into franchising 2-Minute Truck. I looked into franchising 1-800 Got Junk too. They just wanted like $1 for every sales revenue. I'm like, dude, like you guys.
I think it's more like 6. Isn't it 6% for some franchises? Like
6 to 12.
Whoever buys it will pay you if you're the master franchise owner. I think you look at models like Tommy Mello with A1 Garage Door,
equity.
And he's owner of all these branches. He's like a majority owner of all these branches, right? So all these locations that he opens, they're not franchises, they're actual like branches of A1, right?
I think that's like the best way to do it, because like he still maintains control over quality. Because like you see these big franchises and they just crumble with their bad areas. But and that way, Tommy was speaking at the event I was at in Florida over there.
What was the event called?
It's dropped my mind. So the Tighten Up training and Tighten Retreats.
It's a
Tighten Retreats. Yeah, moving related.
Okay.
And Tommy Mello was saying like, yeah, dude, I was $20 million, 100% ownership. And then he was like, and then I flicked the switch to equity partners and started trading equity, and then for his top performers, and they're now business owners, CEOs in their own life, and they can have a stake in the outcomes.
So is he still
41% owner at, I think he said like a $41 million business or something outrageous. And he said like he's making $1 million a day. So it's probably more than 41 million then.
Well, last time I heard on a podcast, I think their revenue is in the hundreds of millions a year between all the A1 branches.
Oh, it's probably, I mean.
Because he was saying on another podcast that his goal was to have $1 billion company and a garage door company. That's pretty extreme. Pretty cool.
I mean, he's got big minds.
I see that a lot. You know, you see it like in real estate brokerages. Like brokerages get swallowed up and they get purchased. I know that like we have a friend over in Morro Bay. He sold to Compass Real Estate, and so like the smaller boutique brokerages are getting bought by these larger national ones. And so it's probably very similar to where there's equity partners that own these large companies, or maybe even they're publicly traded. But in the painting world, there's a company, a holdings company in Minnesota, Jason Paris, Micah Stetler, and a few of the other guys. It's called, forgive me, Aleph Holdings. And they do that with painting companies. Well, they'll go in and they become 40% owners of the business. But they have so much experience with growing painting companies that they take your $1 million company and grow it to wherever you're trying to get to. And it's advantageous to them as the new stakeholders in the game to grow the business, because the more they grow it, the more that they make as a holdings company. And so now I think they have like 15 to 20, probably closer to 20 now, companies under like their holdings company now. And so that's like happening over there. That's the same thing as equity share. And it's pretty interesting, you know. Kind of putting the cart before the horse. You know, I like owning 100% of my businesses for right now. You never know down the line what it's going to be like. But I keep staring over at this thing. I'm trying to figure out what it is. The North County Redmore Group.
Yeah, they. It's funny, like, because we're both on the board for Atascadero, and they're.
Oh, it's like you stamp it and then you get something, or
and they made their own passport. I thought it was cool, so I just put it in my little booklet there. I was like, they totally snagged that idea. I mean, I'm sure like
it's like a wine passport.
Yeah, like the wine one. I'm sure the wine one was copied from someone else. It's just cool to see, you know, sparking ideas and innovation in our area and collaboration. I mean, they've got so many places they legit have their own ability to make a passport, which is funny.
Do you? I know that you're involved with like going down to like the Pismo Beach Association of Realtors, the office down there on Fridays. Do you go to the one on Tuesday too, here in North County?
Yeah, and I'll even do the one in Slow, and then I'm working on getting into the San Maria one because that's where our second branch is. And we'll sometimes divide and kind of conquer. Like I'll send one of my
you're driving at 7:30 every day,
and then I'll go to the Slow. So the Tuesday one, Slow and Paso. Sometimes we'll divide and hit both of those.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean honestly, for me doing those caravans too, like for your service-based businesses, like. Most people don't even understand what real estate agents do go through and like the challenges involved, or even the terms. Like I didn't know there was like a broker and a realtor, and then
it depends on the state.
Yeah,
some states you actually call yourself a broker if you're a realtor. You know?
See, I'm like 1% better.
Like for instance, Peak Realty. My wife has a broker's license, and I'm an owner in the corporation of Peak Realty, but I'm just what you would call a realtor owner, and she's a broker owner. So I can operate. But I couldn't, if she, you know, decided she wanted to retire, or she wanted to go do something else, I'd have to get my broker's license to maintain this business, or bring on someone who had a broker's license. Someone at each brokerage needs to have a broker's license. Whereas if you had like a chain, like you know, a Century 21 or something like that, where they had multiple offices, then you would just have to have like a branch manager. I'm not sure 100% if they need to have a broker's license, but. There's a difference between the two. I know that, you know, in moving, you're probably going to be like heavily relying on referrals from realtors. But do you also do you get a lot of clientele just from your social media or Google search? Or I would imagine, honestly, just based on like what we get from our signage, with your vans and your trucks, you probably get a lot of just calls from people. I see your truck, or I saw the truck, and my neighbor had the truck. You know,
right? I mean, we'll get them in even other states, like because I've made them so loud that like we'll be in like Utah or something. I got a call from Utah. I'm like, because people don't know. I mean, it's just a moving truck. I need movers. I would say like definitely, repeat clients and referrals are always number 1 and 2. We use a system called CallRail with tracking numbers.
Yeah, for sure.
I haven't gotten to the point where I want to put them on the trucks. I think it's a little over the top, but I mean, if you were really analytical with it, like literally all the marketing materials I have, even this pen right here has its own tracking number on it.
Right.
Just because you want to know what's actually working, like what is turning the needle, like maybe they're not saying that to me, or maybe my Google organic or Google ads are working, but how do you know they said Google? And so you have to have systems in place.
Everyone's going to say Google. If they looked you up on Google, it's the last thing they're going to remember is like, well, I looked you up on Google, so that must be the source.
But like, who knows? It could have been like, well, I sent you a mailer and then I forgot about it. And then I went on Google and then I somehow subconsciously remembered it. Or the realtor referred you and then you checked us out on Google, but you looked on Google last. So it's always hard. I really appreciate when like real estate agents will we do have an affiliate program too, where they can submit leads and we can track the process of it.
Yeah.
But I really love, my number 1 is when someone's like, hey, look, here's the contact of this client. They'll be reaching out to you, or can you reach out? And I just take care of that from there. I'll update them when we schedule a survey, update them when we get the job booked, and then, update them with a review. I mean, that's full service. That's white glove, VIP treatment that, you want as a referral. Even just the other day, I got a referral from the Chamber of Commerce in Paso, and I was like, hey, thank you for doing this. I got her scheduled for a survey, and then I just booked it. It's really cool as a referral partner to be updated on wow, that actually helped them. Because it's just referrals are a dime a dozen, but when someone says what they're going to say they do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
Actions speak louder than words.
Yeah. I have one thing I think you do really well too is I've been in 2 recent transactions. I'm currently in escrow in my house, and I got your greeting card.
Oh yeah, the
and
golden
I got your
ticket
golden
one?
ticket.
Yeah.
And I definitely it's handwritten inside, and I know for a fact that even though you know me, at first I was like, oh yeah, he knows I'm selling my house. I told him.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, it's just it's a good touch. And you're probably not even aware that I personally got one.
No.
And so we had another house too that we were selling, and then I got one also. And I remember my wife being like, she's like, we got to do this, or you have to do this. If someone's in escrow, they might need a painter, or or someone moves to town and here's a real estate offering and whatnot. But it's really cool. It's a nice greeting card. It's handwritten. And it's got a little golden ticket that's all foil.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote the whole thing myself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it says a message from our founder. I tried literally writing these. It's actually a company my buddy has, and I tried writing these, and literally my hand hurt after 5 of them. I was like, dude, I'm done. And then he was like, well, you could do your own mailers and try this stuff and trying to get me more price or more affordable. I was like, dude, I don't want to spend any time on this.
Yeah.
I want my clients to be serviced at the best possible level, and I can't do that myself.
Yeah.
This is what I'm good at, and this is what I'm not.
Yeah, I do the same thing with we have I think 1,600 people on my painting mailing list.
Yeah.
And so we send out a holiday greeting card. I'll write the message, but it's impossible to
There's no way.
these cards. But the cool thing about it though is that it arrived exactly when it needed to.
Yeah, the timing and then when it gets listed, and then when it gets pending sale too, we'll do another.
So those are the 2 I got.
Yeah. Oh,
so it was listed, and then 7 days later pending sale. So 2 days later I got the second one, and that's what I'm talking about. It was perfect timing. So I kept one. It's actually on my other desk at the other office.
Yeah, you don't want to throw that golden ticket away.
No, I'm thinking about copying you in some way.
Oh,
so,
dude, I'll even hook you up with the guy.
It's
total open book.
It's this guy here, Tom Ferry always says, rip off and duplicate. That's R&D.
Oh yeah.
When you're trying to copy someone that for the betterment of your business, it's R&D.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a lot that's going on in home services, from moving to contracting to plumbing to HVAC. I think a lot of trades are still the Wild West in some regard. I think moving can get that way sometimes, where it's you get a lot of what you call a chuck in a truck with a helper. He's I'm going to haul all your stuff out of here. With painting, you get the same thing. Thankfully, with real estate, you need a real estate license.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? But with some trades and some like you're not going to get concrete guys that are just coming blowing through and like going to ruin your house. You're not going to get like HVAC guys are typically like they're bigger companies now. They're not like
like you got to bring cranes and stuff, mess with this stuff, you know.
So it's difficult when you have a business sometimes competing against the race to the bottom with the pricing. So it really goes above and beyond when you can sell your value and show that like when you hire someone like Central Coast Moving, you're getting 100% like the best service that you can get, and you're also getting 100% communication, follow through, and follow up. So after the job's done, I'm sure you guys don't just like let someone go radio silent for years. Like you stay in touch with them.
There's like a 3 month, 6 month, 1 year. I mean, actually, this is for like all the service-based businesses. We generated $15,000 of sales for December and January. I don't know if it was just December or just January, but I know it was like in the wintertime. Yeah. With one of our sales coaches, like, what have you done prospecting wise? Yeah. And then we literally had, I think it was like 700 or 1,000 clients last year. And then one moving consultant started at the top, one at the bottom, and they raced to the center. And you put in about 2 hours per month, basically. So 2 hours for January, 2 hours for December. And they're just kind of going to the center into the winter. You know, I think we gave out a bonus for the winter. And essentially, honestly, just I mean, if you're not using a CRM, customer relationship management software, like this isn't going to work very well because you have to have your systems. And
use a program that's like widely
specific for moving.
Yeah. Oh, okay, gotcha.
And so, like, basically, what we did, we created little templates for email and said, hey, hey, at customer name, I'd love an opportunity to see if there's anyone just like you that you would trust for us to move. You know, we'd love to send out a referral reward and make sure we get you and your friend taken care of. And literally, like, it generated some volume. And like, I'm like, dang, like, why aren't we doing this every quarter? Right. I mean, it just takes time. We just brought on another moving consultant that I think will be doing that a lot more often. But like, these are things like you don't even like that cost us $0 besides the time investment to do it. It's just no one talks about that because it's just like it's a 99% failure, but it's the 1% success that makes 15 grand. Right. So I mean,
yeah. Well, you hear a lot with other people. They don't want to spend any marketing money because they feel like it's just wasted. Like, oh, I never get any leads, or I don't get any this, I don't get any that. But it's like you have to, an ROI is like. You have to spend money to make money.
Oh, yeah.
And so sometimes, like, the cost to acquire a moving customer, like, say, for instance, is like $200-$300. If you take all your marketing costs, divided by how many leads you get for the year, or for the month, whatever. So your cost could be really high in the slow season because you're spending the same amount of marketing, but you're getting less leads. So those leads are very important. So when you're spending dollars to get more leads, you see a lot of people that they're not going to get any. Their business is not going to grow because they're afraid to spend the marketing money. They're afraid to like spend the time to like grow on and learn how to do something, and they're really stifling themselves in terms of growth because you get in this mindset like I can't spend this money because I need it.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, it's like I would rather fall and attack than I would fall and retreat. And like my fall forward. Yeah, my general manager, he's our sales territory manager too. And like he was like, dude, we're coming out of winter with a bear coat, and like that resonated. Like I saw us just walking through the snow. Here's the sun on the other side, and just bursting out like with this winter coat. Like we just shot some bears, Like that's the mentality you have to go in, and like it literally drives me nuts inside when someone's proud about we don't spend any money on marketing. I'm like, you have not grown at all this last 10 years, have you? And they're like, oh no, we've been in business for 50 years, and I'm like. No wonder you don't spend any money on marketing. Like, you either are, if you're not growing, you're dying in this
slowly
age.
Dying,
Yeah.
I think there's if you're not growing, you're slowly dying. There's some truth to that. There's some aspect of like aggressive growth is not for everyone, but also some people, they can get by with just having the same amount of like revenue year after year plus inflation. But like when you're not aggressively looking for growth opportunities like marketing and your slow season's going to be even slower. And so you don't want to have that stress of like the idea that, oh, it's January, so it's slow. And then just like, that's just your mentality is like, it's always slow in January. You should have the mentality, we should all have the mentality of no matter what. Do you want stress in your life? No. Then don't act like January is slow, because January is always going to be slow if you think it's going to be slow. So like thinking about that ahead of time, And I know some people. I've heard like in home industry, it's like Christmas in July, where you're selling like selling January jobs in July to fill the pipeline.
Yeah.
And however that looks for you, I don't like to discount our work. But you can do value add, But then also in real estate too. I mean, January is like historically like super low. This year's a little different because we have interest rates in the beginning of 2024 that actually started dipping. So we saw buyers in January and February, whereas we didn't before. And it trickles down to even like moving. You probably saw.
I'm like right behind it, know, because it's like,
So maybe last year, the beginning of 2023 was slower than the beginning of 2024, right?
Oh, January was honestly with this big commercial job at 400 Liggett. So it was like, but if you took that out, it was exactly the same.
Yeah.
Which is kind of frustrating because I'm shooting for 30% growth. Like that's just the mentality that I have. February, we tripled what we did though. Yeah. It was like, we're doing summer numbers. Like this was nuts. And then you're like, and then also you need to, like, I want to also touch on like, you don't have to be growing in sales, but at least net profit. If you're not like when I hit the target that I'm hitting, like, we're trying to get our net up. Yeah. Because, like, everyone could be like, oh, I do blank million. And be like, well, what's your net? And they're like, oh, well, 10%. And it's like, whoa, dude, like, how about you do half that and double that and quit wasting your time?
Put it this way, I heard a presentation in February at the Painters Contractors Association in Florida. And the guy was like, the guest speaker was like the second largest painting company in the country. We're talking a few $100 million in paint. And he was talking about how a few years ago his company was like in the red, like not profitable, and there are hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. And so it doesn't matter how much money you make. It's like if your profit margin is not where it needs to be at the net side, it's like it doesn't matter. It can be stress no matter what. The larger the number gets and the lower your profit is. That's why a lot of companies, can do better at figuring out how to delegate, like you are with your VA, learning how to outsource like BBSI, because I see a lot of companies, I talk to a lot of companies that seem to fail pretty quick, is that they grow in size and revenue, but they think they need to pile on all this like overhead in terms of like all these positions to run these imaginary people, right? Like, well, if I just pile on a lot more salespeople, I'll get a lot more leads coming in, and then I'll just pile on more managers to run the movers. But it's like, well, then what happens when you have 2 weeks with like no leads coming in? You're paying all these managers to do nothing. Yeah. So you have to be like smart with like how you streamline.
Unless you're like commission only, but like, I don't know many people besides like real estate agents that can, or maybe like solar sales that can really like live with that ups and downs. Like, because I mean, it's really seasonality. I mean, in most service-based businesses, so it's
all about relationships though. Because even like, even with real estate, we're dealing with. You got a slow couple weeks to just get on the phone some more, If you got a slow couple weeks, touch base with your past clients, send out some creative emails to spark some conversations, Come up with an idea for a video that's going to get someone to email you back so where you can provide value. Because in real estate, we're here to provide value to our clients. It's definitely it's a people and relationship business that happens to sell houses. Painting houses is a people and relationship business. And the byproduct of that is a painted house or a painted office building. Like anything else, any strong business person that has ethics and like operates a business with integrity and provides a valuable service like yourself to the community, they should be able to go like, I'm Austin Yarborough. I'm no longer with Central Coast Moving. I'm going to start a rain gutter company, and you should be able to go boom, and it's the same business, and then have it just blow up the same, because the commodity of what you're selling matters a lot less than your systems and your ability to execute on your business plan. Yeah. And anybody who can do that is like golden no matter what they do. And that's why we see a lot of CEOs in this country go from major corporation to major corporation. This guy doesn't know anything about refrigerators, but all of a sudden now he's like LG Appliance CEO.
Yeah, right.
But he was a CEO at Ford for 10 years and he grew that company. It comes down to how do you understand numbers and how do you understand customer relations, and those things just like can be transferred anywhere. And that's why I really think that I'm really excited to see you become the biggest baddest in the state.
Yeah, man. I mean, likewise. I'm always here to share and sit down and do more of these because it's really cool to see us grow. But I mean, like. I love moving. I like literally love what I do, and I have a passion for it. Yeah. And I'm in the seat now where I'm not feeling like I misput, like I do some sales for us, which, probably in near future I will be fully out of the sales, but I think the networking.
What do you like to do?
What I like to do is the branding, marketing, and networking. Like that's like really where I feel like, that's most fun for me. But I have to prioritize too. Like I have to do these things that I don't like before I get to those.
Oh, for sure.
Because like this is what gives me dopamine and this is what brings me down. So let's just like stack the bad on the good. And so the end of my day, I just feel good. Like I got things done.
I think making the connection for me, whether it's be like I like people, I like connections. I really like to be able to make networking happen, to relationships. Networking is such a convoluted word, but just like going somewhere, and I know you're the same way, but going into a room of people, shaking everyone's hand, having good conversations with everybody, and when you leave there, everybody knows what you do.
Yeah, I mean they don't even have to, like for me seriously, like. You may not, like, because I'm so identified with the same outfit. I just did a video, if you guys want to check it out. Central Coast Moving, I would claim to be like Steve Jobs. But like
I'll link your socials.
Oh yeah.
Here, yeah.
It's so simple though, but to me I'm like, you see what you get. You may not remember Austin, you may not remember Central Coast Moving, but you're gonna remember blue and the guy in the blue. Yeah. And then like correlate probably blue and moving, be like, oh, that's the guy.
Yeah.
And like in a simple level. And then another thing here, Slow Cal Graphics made us this, but Clayton's a great guy, but honestly, a name tag, like a lot of our sales training, I see, it really frustrates me when I actually see like a lot of people out and about, like it's like, I don't know, like in the real estate industry or whatever, like they don't have a name tag on. I'm like, dude, I met 20 people today. Look,
I took mine off for the podcast, but I got all my other.
I saw it over there too.
It's not a secret.
But everyone's viewing you.
Yeah.
But like, it's really frustrating because it's like, honestly, sometimes people just don't remember, and it puts people at ease. And I feel like you forget, like, it's just so nice when you're, like, let's just say you were stumped, you just met, like, 10 people, and you're like, oh, I forgot this guy's name. You're like, Austin. Done. That's why at networking events, they give you a name tag to just simplify this.
Well, you want to say, like, you want to know someone's name. Because I also, since I wear a name tag every day, I either wear my Peak Realty name tag or I'll wear the Peak Painting name tag.
Yeah.
I wear one all the time, and so I don't know if you do this too, but I was talking to Stephanie today, and we went to the coffee shop, and she was going through the drive-thru, and I was like, no, park, we're going in. And she's like, oh, why? I'm like, because you want to be able to go in front of humans we're in sales, you're in business, you want to meet people. I like to go into Starbucks or wherever the coffee shop, if someone's wearing a name tag, I call them by their name too.
Yeah.
I go into Vaughn's, I'm checking out, I always say people's names. If you can see their names, you say their name and it just like resonates with them too. It builds trust. But having a name tag is like the biggest trust building. And you can be seen by like people like, oh, it's kind of dorky, but like I don't care. Like
like if statistics don't lie.
If dorkiness makes me money, I'm wearing like a pony hat or something. I'm wearing like a
right?
Like if I wore a spinny hat and it made me $1 million a year, I'm the guy with the spinny hat on,
Hey, it might work. I know a guy, Sean Scheer with Scheer Mortgage, and
he just popped up on my feed.
Yeah, probably because I'm tagging him and stuff and mentioning him, but he'll wear like a kilt out there on St. Patrick's Day, a whole bunny suit, Christmas stuff. Like he's like one of the OGs in South County and Fall. So he's won literally like person of the year in like every city or whatever down there. But like the enthusiasm he has like is just so radiant, and I think like most people are afraid inside, like myself included, to like make themselves that vulnerable. But when you're able to cross that like infinity line to the next level,
right?
I think it's like you can't compete with someone who's willing to put it all on the line every day. Yeah, I really respect it.
Well, do you find that also when you get out of your comfort zone? Like my buddy Steve Burnett, he sent me this image and he would always talk about it, and I had it on my screensaver on my computer, and it was like a circle, and it said the comfort zone. And it was a circle, and there was like an arrow out here, and then like a dot in the middle of like the space outside the circle, and it says the magic. Yeah. So like the magic happens outside your comfort zone. Yeah. And it was for me to remember that every day. Like you can get in your comfort zone and you're like, yeah, my day starts here, and then I go to the office, and then I sit and I open my lunch and I eat my lunch at my desk, and then I study, and I'm a Grant Cardone guy. And so like Grant's always like, go out, eat lunch either around people or go eat lunch with people. Like you never eat alone, And but you got to get out of your shell, and you're like, oh man, I'm not really a social kind of person. It's like, well, you're in the wrong business. Because if you need to sell something, or you need to change, because you can always adapt to your situations, but getting out of your comfort zone and like the guy wearing the bunny suit or the kilt or whatever, I'm sure like no matter what, no one forgets who Sean is. I mean, no one forgets like that guy's a mortgage lender.
No, dude. Yeah. And like while you're touching on that too, like the being seen, like I've like done a couple business meetings, taken them to Bona Tavola, and like it's my favorite spot for these things because it's just so downtown. Like people are like, oh, you didn't have Bona Tavola. Like it radiates success.
Yeah.
And like I've learned so much. Like I have a notebook just like this. Like social media content, and all sorts of business stuff, and like talking about the recessions, almost like a podcast, basically.
Yeah.
But the whole thing I'm getting to now is the skills and characteristics that you need to get. There's just like, imagine these steps. Here you are. Here's your goal. Like, so many people are afraid to get on camera, and I'm like, literally, when I get a realtor in my sales funnel on Instagram, done. They're gonna refer us because they trust us. They know who I am. They've seen a billion videos. Like, everyone's so afraid to be seen. I even got my fiance, Lauren, with Cartside Cocktails.
Yeah.
I did videos for her. You just download the Captions app and get like a little outro and get a mic, a digi mic, and like the thing's doing like triple what all the other videos. And like no one's like, there's very few, like I would say like probably 5% of businesses and business owners that are like, I mean, you're big on this too. Like, you've got like just doing it, and like because you have to be present and going at it and just break down the walls of your comfort. I mean, it's really like after like 100, you're just like whatever. Like I'll talk on anything.
So here's the big thing too, and I know that Austin's probably going to agree with me on this one. If you're thinking about like I need to do social media to like grow my business, here's the one thing you have to do. Go on social media and scroll through and see other people's videos. And when's the last time you've watched like a friend of yours or someone you've done business with and the video's kind of like clunky and you've thought to yourself, oh, that's a crappy video. Like, no one cares, right?
Yeah.
So no one cares. And honestly, you're not looking for people that are criticizing your video. You're looking for people that go like, oh, I like that quirkiness. I like that weird.
Goofy.
I like the guy in the bunny outfit. Because like, you know, I get on camera a lot. I probably don't do it as much as I should, but I try to do like one piece of social media every day between the different businesses. I try to do one Google My Business post every day. I try to do a blog every week. I've got like my rhythm, and you can see on the board, you know, behind us here, it's like my schedule for the next couple weeks in terms of like social media and content and everything. And it has to be visual for me. And like, I always fall short, but like the one thing I always want to try to impress upon people that are looking to get better at content is like, you have to just schedule it out. And if you can't do it all in one day or once a week and then release it every, like on schedule, at least just do 15 minutes a day. And you can start as easy as going on Gemini or ChatGPT and say, write me a 30-second script about painting the fence.
It's just like,
you're like, write me a
30-second
script for a reel or a YouTube short about the best way to wrap a grand piano. And then it's like, oh, all of a sudden you have a script. And like, there's no more excuses. Make the video.
I mean, it's literally like, there's so many processes and procedures inside, even if you don't even have notated that you're doing. Like, if you were just like, wrote down, what do I do all day? And there's a billion things. Like, I have a whole notes tab on my phone that I just have of like, you know, to business owners, and then social media stuff, and then training videos. And we just, honestly, we've used Jason with High Fly Filmers, and we'll shoot like 150 30-second videos at a time. I mean, it's not like crazy influencer level, but I mean, I just get all this content. It gives me a little drive. I plug it in, and then I'm pulling the stuff. It's so simple. Like, and it started very simple. Like, if you could do 12-second videos do the best. Yeah. So you just have, and the trick is, a little fun tip for everyone. If you put like a 1 millisecond little screenshot of like the title of the video, it makes it look so much more pro. So on your profile, it's showing like, oh, look, how to wrap a bed, part 1, you know, or like how to do this. And then it like draws in attention, and always money follows attention. So.
I like that idea, having a little clip in the beginning.
Just and like the viewer, like that's what we do, and the viewer can't even see it.
Do you put your shorts, like, because I know you do a lot of reels, a lot of video, like vertical videos on social media. Do you also put those as YouTube shorts on your channel?
Everything. It's on. LinkedIn, Twitter, or it's X, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Google My Business. Google My Business, our second location, and an update on Google My Business, both like I've gone like and LinkedIn and Alignable now. So it's just like, because it's a funnel. It's all a funnel. And then it's just like, well, how big can I make my funnel? Like, I mean, I've gotten some jobs off Instagram. I'm not going to say I get jobs off Instagram, and that's why I do it. I do it to build trust. Yeah. Because it's like, I mean, like, there's no one really in my space. Like, I mean, there's companies like Piece of Cake Moving and like a couple that are doing it really well, but most people don't put that much energy.
Well, here's the thing. You know, they say on Google, when someone goes on Google and they're searching for a movers, that's like 3% of the people, right? Yeah. So if you're on social media, they're not necessarily looking for a mover at the time, but they see you all the time. They see you all the time. They see you all the time. And so when it's time to search and they go searching for on Google for movers and they see your name, they're like, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, like.
So they're not, the lead's not going to be attributed to Instagram, but that's like you said, it's building the trust. And so it's reinforcing it that you guys are the best choice, because it's not hard to convince and to sell yourself as the best choice when you are.
Oh, and it's really, and it's not even like, I don't even do social media for clients. Yeah. It's literally strictly referral thing. Like, I do this for our affiliates and other businesses to see us and be like, man, they're pretty legit. They have a good thing going. Yeah. I mean, he's got so much time to do this. He must have a legit company set up. Yeah. And then, like, it was taking me like 2 hours out of my day to do it all on all platforms. And I was like, if I could just hire someone, like, the time, like, my value to the company, if I could pay someone, like, honestly, like, this much, I'm saving money. And that's what we did and broke it out, which was a huge build out. But any business could spend 10 minutes a day. Literally every time you sit down and use the restroom, add 10 people, do 5 likes, 5 comments, and then boom, just put a post up. Use Canva. Like, it's so easy.
What do you think? We probably should end this here in a minute. But what do you think is like probably next on your horizon in the next like 3 weeks that you're like really hustling towards, like a goal, like in April?
I've got a virtual assistant affiliate marketing. That's like on the Q2 track right now. We just brought in, like I said, another moving consultant, and like really to just help me build out this, like, the affiliates and then employees into our sales funnel, like day 1 text, day 2 text, day 3 text, day 4 text for the new employees, and an email. And videos like, hey, it's Austin, owner-centric customer, let's get to know each other. It truly matters, and I want you on my team, and this is why, and this is what we do. We're champions on this team. Yeah. And then on the affiliate side, like, just going out, I mean, a lot of stuff, like, in the past, realtors don't want people to be their handout, but they also need someone to stay constant, because they're busy. They've got 7 deals sometimes juggling. Yeah. They don't even, like, they just need someone to reach out to them and help them. Like, what if they had questions about the moving process too?
I think a lot of, speaking for myself, instead of having like a referral, like affiliate fee or like or a bonus, or like, hey, here's your, what goes a longer way for me, and I'm sure that it goes like a lot of realtors will say the same thing, is that the consistency of service.
Oh, yeah.
So if every time we call Central Coast Moving, or every time we call like another service that we use, that your team is going to be like bam, and it's going to be the same, and it's going to be as good or better than it was before, it's like, I don't need any kickback. I want it just to be like easy for the client. Oh, and easy for the client makes my job easier. And it's just, that's a win-win all around,
100%. Like, I know a lot of guys or other companies, like someone was like, a realtor was like, what, Mia does this for me? And I was like, honestly, what I'm going to do for you is give them the best damn moving experience of their life. I don't need to do that. Yeah. This is what I do. I'm going to do this for them. Yeah. And because I'm doing this for them, this is also for you. Yeah. So there's no problems or headaches. And I'm going to do this 10 times better than them. And the communication with you is going to be unmatched. You're going to be like, dang, like, I feel offended that I asked him for a kickback on this, because he just blew me out of the water. Yeah. And the conversation never came up again. It was just like, whoa. But I mean, that being said, like, if someone was like, you know what, I've referred you tons of work, man, I really want a kickback. I'm like, okay, what donation do you want me to donate to? Because like, I'm more involved. Like, I want to help people at a bigger scale. Yeah. I'm not worried about these small things. And I don't think, I think realtors could respect, like, where do you want me to donate something? Like, that's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, like, but I think number one thing you could do for a real estate agent is give them unmatched quality service, and honestly, even like a referral, or you know what, put them in your social media, like the real estate agent, like say, hey, look, man, I got this awesome referred job from
for sure.
Seth Peak. He's a great guy. If anyone needs a real estate agent, and like other realtors don't even get offended by that. It's just like, dang, like I want to refer something to them, so I'm honest stuff too. Like there's so much pie out there for everyone.
Well, you know, it's when you have a service industry that services like realtors and realtors clients, it's difficult to be a referral partner with a realtor because you're like someone like you or a home inspector, like, or a mortgage lender. You're dealing with so many realtors. That's like, how do you pick one without making someone feel offended, right?
Oh yeah.
So it ends up being like where a lot of those industries won't refer like as many like realtors because it's like they'd rather just like say, well, here's like the top 4 you should call.
Yeah.
And I know that some lenders do that, like, hey, call these 3. And I know myself too, like when someone's looking for a lender and they can fit 3 needs, here's 3 options, rather than saying, oh, call this person only, because it's like not everybody's a good fit for each other also, right?
Oh, I 100% agree. And like I think there's this big wall between like real estate agents and then services, because their neck's on the line. Like, and when you refer even someone to work at a place, like your neck is on the line.
Well, here's my idea, and I know that I was talking to some people in my real estate coaching group. I don't know, it was a couple months ago, but I was thinking like guys like us who own home services businesses also. I don't know if you consider moving a home service.
Oh,
business.
100%, yeah.
So we should teach like a master class on like to realtors and like how to communicate with home service people and how to respect like you know what I mean? Because some realtors are like that too, where they don't know anything about the home services business and they're just like they come, hey, come give me a quote so I can negotiate the price down. I'm gonna waste 3 hours of your time so you can give me a price so I can negotiate with the seller's agent on saying, well, my client needs to paint the house, so they're gonna have to move. It's gonna cost them $20,000 to move.
Oh yeah.
And they're not gonna use your just like kind of jerking people around. And so I feel like a lot of realtors sometimes they don't understand how the world works, like in terms of home services. And so then they get this like jaded picture and they go like, oh, so and so, like, you know, they're unreliable. Painters are unreliable. Movers are unreliable because every time they interact with one, they're not actually like.
There's no So I think it's
there's no transaction. It's
communication
more like,
and mutual respect.
Yeah.
If someone literally, I mean, maybe we need to do a podcast on that stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, if there was just more, like, I think a little bit more communication, like, hey, I really just need like a $3,000 moving quote to just get this into play and put this date down so I can start my negotiation. Or a painting quote for $3,000, like square footage, blah, 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 done. Like, you know what's going on. It's just like this level of like back to back, and then like if the communication is there, you're talking to each other.
Yeah.
But if you're not, you're like talking against the wall.
Yeah.
And then you're both kind of frustrated, and then it's like,
and don't act
that's
like,
all I want.
Here's the thing, like what I always try to do is I don't act like I know what I don't know. If I don't know an answer, I'm going to say like I'm going to find out for you.
Mm.
But you know, it goes a long way relying on the expertise of whoever's doing it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We have a situation like that where the client's like not agreeing to like what we're advising them to do, and there's only so much you can do at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like, hey, you want to buy this or not? Like, you can't. What you're telling me to do is not how it works. So we can't do that. So what are we doing here? Or like, are we supposed to just like just act like there's no rules, or there's, you know? So
yeah, I mean, you don't want to cut corners, right?
No, we know how to cut corners, but we just never do them.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you do
the boundaries, so you know how to stay within them.
Yeah.
But you got to know, so that way when you're dealing with someone who's outside the boundaries and they're cutting the corners, you know how to spot it and say that, you know, that's not the right way to do it, and this is why we do it this way. And
I think a lot of industries, like myself included, need to have a better buyer's guide, even for the realtors, like what to spot out. Like when a company says, I'm licensed and insured, that doesn't mean shit. Yeah. You know, like I have a driver's license and car insurance, like for real. Like, it's so nuts. Like, I just was at a caravan this week, and he was like, yeah, I use this one company. I'm like, I've never even heard of them. Let's look up their license. He's like, oh yeah, he's licensed and insured. I'm like, according to what? Yeah. You know, and like I'm almost the a-hole, like, you know, because
you're not with a contractor's license board. Are you with like a certain? Like...
So it's the Public Utilities Commission with the Bureau of Household Goods and Services. Like, it literally is so expensive to run a moving company. Like, that's why there's only like 3 real big ones. in the area because you kind of have to be a little crazy, you know. But anyone can literally do it. The barrier to entry is so low to actually just formulate a company. Google doesn't really, Yelp I know doesn't legitimize anything, and so like it's frustrating to see like. But I mean, honestly, there's bottom feeders, and the way you do everything is the way you do anything.
Yeah.
But the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So
the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
And so, like, by you getting the mailer in the mail, you're like, dang, this guy's like on his stuff. He's got systems in play. Like, if some dude came to your house, doesn't have a CRM, gives you a piece of paper and says, this is how much it's going to cost, about 7-8 hours.
Yeah.
You know, like, can I have $100 deposit? You're like, what the heck is going on? There's no documentation. There's no things. There's no systems in place. There's no going over the coverage or insurance or our policies. Like, it's just because it's a cheap price. And what's really scary is, you know, clients aren't educated enough by those who do it the right way. And I take full responsibility of not educating clients enough. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if I haven't built a value for them, that's totally my fault if the price isn't agreeable. But like, I think like professional services need to do a better job on a buyer's guide and really giving the information to the client. Because like sometimes too, like, oh, the move's $2,000 or it's it's $2,000. Oh, that's too much. I'd be like, you know, sometimes like it's crazy, but like, so if I added packing for another $1,000, you know, does that sound like that's, you know, definitely in your wheelhouse? And like sometimes like more is better, which is kind of mind blowing for me. Like, it's not exactly how I make decisions, but it's just like, if you're not fulfilling the value for me where I want to save my weekend. I don't want to deal with the move. Right. Like you've only hit 2 out of the 3 things with the whole 2K, but 3K hit all 3, and that's exactly what they want. Dude, it's pretty nuts.
I think next time we jump on here, we should talk about a little bit more of like the customer experience.
Oh yeah.
Because I really like that aspect of it, and I think also diving into like marketing and whatnot, because it's totally fascinating me, man. But like, I'm stoked that you came in. Yeah. The first one here, actually, like 2 people in the office, pretty good, pretty cool setup. Shooting this on my phone because my camera wouldn't work before Austin got here, but it seems to be all working just fine. So looking forward to our next chat, Austin, man.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, check you later.